What's going on, guys? ChaseWins.com coming to you for, well, technically it is Thursday night, but we're going to be doing a video for Saturday college football action, just like we've done the past couple of days. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I recorded some videos, put them up. They were all futures predictions, all for this weekend's action. First one, we started out giving you an underdog pick on some Friday night football action, and then also on that same video gave you an underdog selection for a Saturday college football game. Then the very next day, that very next morning, I recorded another video with two more underdog selections, both for college football Saturday action. All of that you can find in the description below. Both video links are there because if you have not watched them, and the two videos that I've posted over the past couple of days where you get 4 underdog picks, make sure that after you get done with this video, go click them and watch them. That way you don't miss out. Now, obviously, the very first video was posted sometime on Wednesday, but it wasn't. It was done Tuesday night. So again, it's now Thursday night. So if a line is a half point different or something like that, don't waste your time sending me a lengthy email or commenting on the video about how the lines are inaccurate. Just like I stated, lines move, and especially when you have 3,000 subscribers, people are going to bet these games, and it's going to make lines move eventually. You can't wait till the last minute and expect everything to stay the same when I gave it to you, 3, 4, 5 days ahead of time. So make sure you go watch those. Obviously, no action was going on Tuesday or Wednesday in the American sports world. We still have action going on tonight. The only games that have finished is we are 1-1 right now. We have a game that's getting ready to start or just started in the Colorado State-Fresno State game. We had another underdog prediction come through tonight. We actually took the Atlanta Falcons plus 2.5 points. They won outright against the Carolina Panthers. We're pretty much controlling that game from start to finish. And the weather, being that I'm in that area, right there in Charlotte, the weather's what really steered me away from wanting to take the over. But based on all the information I got of field conditions, obviously the, multi-million dollar draining system that they have there, the field was at 95% of what it would have been on a dry game day. So, and being that the weather kind of subsided before noontime on Thursday, it really, the weather was no longer a factor. It was just field conditions, but the field was no longer an issue. So ended up taking the over as well. And if it would not have been for that interception late in the game, I truly, truly believe that Carolina, because of the poor defense that Atlanta has, would have been able to tie that game up with a 2-point conversion. That would have already made the over basically all but a guarantee, and then Atlanta could have wrapped it up in overtime, and we could have cashed in both of those. But 1-1 there, but we did cash the underdog pick. That's yet another underdog. I don't think we have lost. How many underdogs have we lost? Maybe one underdog in the past 3 weeks. There is nobody that gives out the amount of underdog plays that I do, especially for free, and has the amount of underdogs that win outright, game in and game out. So we are going to be doing another underdog today. This is probably going to be the last underdog that I give you for college football Saturday. May look at one more free play for college football Saturday, but I can't guarantee that it would be an underdog, and we'll start looking at that sometime tomorrow. And then I'm waiting on a little bit of information that I hope an email gets sent to me overnight. And if it does, I want to lock this pick in first thing in the morning for NFL, and it'll be an underdog play. And I will do that video and post it at some point on Friday. So let's do this. As far as promos and stuff go, you can see these in the other videos that we've done this week. But the All Access month, people have begged me for almost, for a year now. Please give us another All Access pass that's not a one full year, that would be like a one-time trial. Let us see what it's about before we go out and pull the trigger on a 1-year All Access pass. So I've listened to the demands, and after over a year of you guys waiting, I have now released a 30-day All Access pass. This is probably going to be right around a $750 to $800 a month package, but for this week only, until Sunday, you can get a 30-day All Access pass for only $499. This will be the only time you'll ever be able to get that price for this. It includes everything, and I mean everything. Every every sport, every premium play, every daily top play, game of the week, game of the month, game of the year if there is one, NASCAR, horse racing, international sports. If it gets released on chasewins.com, it is yours. There is not a single thing that has ever been released or will ever be released on chasewins.com that an all access member does not have full access to, and there are no upcharges beyond that. You get everything. So $499 gets you a month of that. And then the only other things that we've got going on is you can get the early bird special, 50% off the college basketball season this year. Usually every year it's $1,500. This year and this year only, we're going to do it for $1,000 just because of what's went on with COVID. So we're trying to allow you guys to save as much money as possible. But until Sunday, you can get the early bird special for 50% off, $500 for the entire season. Day one tip off through March Madness, all premium and daily top plays. And like I said, you can get it for $500. Make sure you jump on that because we are less than 3 weeks away from the start, or right at 3 weeks away from the start of the 2020-21 college basketball season. Don't miss out on that. As far as that, we've got 50% off going for NFL and college football seasons, which are both rolling right along right now. We are just right at 40% of the way through the NFL season, and we're right about the halfway mark of college football. You can get the rest of the seasons through the Super Bowl, through the national championship, everything for $500 a piece, or $1,000 for both, whichever you want to do. That will go until Sunday as well. Congratulations to Patrick and his clients cashing in on another outright race winner selection. Kyle Busch at 14-1 odds, so plus 1,400 on that right there. I haven't gone back and looked at the entire card, nor will I tonight. That's all I know because it came across my MyBookie account, or excuse me, my BetMGM account that I used this week. That's who we've been using the past few weeks in NASCAR, and that the 14-1 wager hit. So congratulations to all you guys there. And yeah, the only recap we can really do right now is the 1-1, and we'll see what happens in the Fresno State, Colorado State football game, which actually just started just a few minutes ago. It's a 10 o'clock game. All right, let's get on a free play. Now, like I said, I've already given out 4 Underdog free picks. Go click the description in the video below. There's 2 video links for the 2 that I've already posted this week. And let me just double check this line just to make sure that nothing has changed, because this is one that I actually wagered earlier today. This is just the first time I've had a chance to sit down, do a video. Plus, we've been dealing with power outages all day long in this part of the world. All right. Nope, still the same. Iowa and Northwestern. Northwestern is on the road in the Big Ten, taking on Iowa. Second week of Big Ten action this year. Iowa is laying 3.5 points. I do know that I saw 1-3 at Bovada earlier today. So if your book's giving you 3, that's fine. Obviously, you want to try to get that hook in there. That 3.5 is always, much, much better, and it brings a lot of value to the table. Northwestern's catching 3.5 at William Hill, and I'll be honest with you, this is another game where I think that in the Big Ten, it's not so much who's the better team, because we're dealing with 2 teams that neither one of them are anything spectacular. Obviously, in most years, you would look at it, Northwestern is, like the redheaded stepchild of the Big Ten, and Iowa's always a contender in the Big Ten. For at least a portion of the season, they're always a contender, somebody that nobody looks forward to playing, especially going into their territory. In normal years, you can catch a month of college football where the weather's still halfway decent in Iowa. Now the winds are up, cold weather, snow's getting put on the ground here soon. I think Iowa's already had snow this year, but Northwestern doesn't really care about that. Northwestern, that's Chicago's university right there. So you don't think they're used to dealing with wind and shitty cold weather? They most certainly are. Traveling's not going to be much because Illinois and Iowa are just a hop, skip, a jumping away. This is just one of those things where I think that this year, look at what Northwestern did last year. Let's go back to last year. Even though last year means nothing, let's think about last year for a second. And you have a couple of teams in the Big Ten that really stood out to me last year. Obviously, most people would, think of the normals, the Ohio States, the Wisconsins. Well, I don't think anyone was expecting anything less than what they got from those teams, which was dominance. Everyone was expecting Wisconsin to be great. Everyone was expecting Ohio State to be great. Hell, I had Ohio State to win it all before the season even started. But I think that people also expected a little more than they got out of Wisconsin. I was the only capper in the country that picked Wisconsin to lose the week that they did, or at least I didn't pick them to lose outright, but where they were laying an astronomical amount of points to Illinois, we had Illinois to not only cover, and I said right there on a free play video that Illinois was going to keep that game 10 points or less. And I want to say that Wisconsin was out there laying 4 or 5 touchdowns. Illinois ended up winning the game outright, took them out of national championship, or playoff contention. Um, but Wisconsin's a great team. Wisconsin did lose some guys. I think Wisconsin's battling some COVID stuff right now, and Ohio State got screwed in the playoffs. So then, outside of that, what do you say? Who was the surprise? Everybody would say Minnesota. But again, Minnesota really wasn't that big of a surprise if you think about it. Minnesota, their coaching staff has built a fantastic team. And the thing is, they had that fantastic team 2 years ago. It was just young. Then the year before, they go out there and they start showing what they had been working for. And then it was like everyone had said, if you listen to people that actually know Big Ten football, they were saying, this is make or break for Minnesota because this is where all of that hard work either pays off or it blows up in their face and they have to start all over again. Minnesota is not a school that's going to out recruit the Michigans, the Michigan States, the Ohio States, so on and so forth. They're a ways away from that. It's just not likely to happen ever, really, not for an extended period of time. But that's not the team I'm talking about either. You really want to look at the surprise teams. There were 3 of them: Illinois, Indiana, and Northwestern. Illinois probably had the most talent on their team if you really want to look at the types of players that they had. I would say that Indiana went out there and probably played the most impressive ball week in and week out. Illinois had the impressive wins, but Indiana was in every single game, despite what the score told you, other than the Ohio State game. But then you had Northwestern, where every week they could win a game. It could be an impressive win. It could be a so-so win. Didn't matter. They never got credit for it, ever. They never got credit for it. They were written off before the game started. They could win the game, and they'd be written off for the next game. People are starting to realize towards the end of the year that, wait a minute, Northwestern's got some talent. Northwestern did just as good as anybody in the country, most certainly better than anybody in the Big Ten at going out there and plucking talent from junior colleges and lower tier FCS universities. So when they did that and they started building talent that just never got the shot, they got some recruits out there too. Recruits that were rated 2 and 3 star in the national scale. And they didn't even look at 5-star recruits. Not looking at those 5-star recruits bagged them 2 5-star recruits. Those 2 5-star recruits were now playing full-time as juniors last year and showing out. Now they're seniors. They didn't get redshirted, which was a problem, but Northwestern really didn't have the opportunity to because they needed players on the field. They didn't need players sitting out. Because now you're in what could be argued as the most competitive conference in football. Obviously, the SEC is always there. The ACC doesn't count despite what Clemson does. So it's the SEC or the Big Ten. They want to be a contender in their own conference. They've got to put players on the field now, not 2 or 3 years from now. The thing that we have with Iowa this year that sets, what separates themselves from Northwestern, so where's the difference at, is that you would look at it and say, okay, Iowa's still the better team. Iowa is the more well-known team. That's the kicker. They could give Iowa could be laying 7, and the novice sports fan or gambler is going to take Iowa. Hell, they'd probably do it if Iowa was laying 10, because it takes at least 3 years of a team getting real success for it to change the public perception of what people think about a team. Now, I'm not saying that if that's with a mediocre team like Miami could be mediocre year after year after year, have one good year or one great recruiting class where the media talks about them and everybody's on the bandwagon. But when you talk about a school like Northwestern or an Illinois or an Indiana, you talk about teams like that aren't just mediocre every year. They're bad every year. They're bad. They're bad on the national scale. They're bad just in the grand scheme of things. And what to make matters worse, they're playing in a top conference like the Big Ten. It happens every year when you think about a team like NC State. It happens most years with North Carolina in football. But here's the kicker. Remember what I said. In a conference like this where you have teams that are bad, they'd be bad no matter what conference they were in. You're not going to have one good season and everybody's going to start believing in you. So this year, going into this season, who do you think's really going to believe in Illinois or Indiana or Northwestern? Public perception's still going to be that they're the team they've always been. Just like public perception's going to be Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State. They're all going to be good. Look at what it did for Minnesota. Minnesota has to have 3 good seasons before people even raise their eyebrows. Same thing's happening this year, and the odds makers know it. They know it. They know Iowa's here, Northwestern's here. We could put this line at whatever, and we're still going to get the amount of bets and money more than likely coming in on Iowa. There's no way that the odds makers don't realize that Northwestern is actually the better team on paper right now. They're the better road team. They've proven that over the past 2 years that they play better on the road than they do at home. And again, home field doesn't mean much this year. And right now, they're the more experienced team. Look at who Iowa lost at the end of last season. Look at Iowa having some players opt out. Look at the changes up in the booth for Iowa. So now they're running a different scheme. And guess what? They didn't have practice time this year. They didn't have their summer camps. They didn't have time for these players to even on a practice scale learn the new pieces of this system that is going to be there for the long haul, or so we would assume. Northwestern's doing things that is doing the same things that they've been doing for the past 6 years, and they're going to do it again, and they're going to do it with an upperclassman team. Iowa is going to do it with more so of an inexperienced underclassman team in the year 2020 with no practice to get ready for it. So on paper, which is really all you can go off of because one game means nothing as far as a sample size to grade these teams off of, right now, if I'm going off of paper, which is all I can really go off of, I've got Northwestern laying 3, not catching 3.5. Now, let's say that we use the first game of the season as a sample size and we go off of that. I would say that both teams played well, barring who they are. And let's say that for that reason, I were to give Iowa another point. So now Northwestern's only laying 2. And then let's say I want to go way out on a limb and give 3 points for home field advantage to Iowa. That means that Iowa's laying 1 at home, not 3.5. Any way you want to cut it, a field goal's too much. 3.5 gives us that much more value in a game that, truth be told, if Northwestern plays their game to the best of their ability and doesn't let up and doesn't give up, then I see a Northwestern win on the road against a Big Ten opponent in Iowa. I'm gladly going to take the 3.5 points. Like I said, if you're catching 3, that's fine. Take it. Make sure you're getting at least 3. But what I did was I put a half unit bet on this, so 5 to win 500 plus 3.5. But I also took a half of that and did plus 145 on the money line because that's about 10 cents too high, to be honest with you. 145 is great market value in a game that I think Northwestern not only can, but should win outright. So that right there, guys, makes it 5 underdog free picks for this weekend's college football action. Like I said, hopefully the email that I just sent to somebody that I work very closely with in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is a distant suburb of Denver, will be sending me an email based on some information that I'm looking for on a game this weekend in the NFL. And if it happens overnight, like I hope it does, then first thing in the morning or at some point tomorrow, I will do another free play video for the NFL, and I'll get that posted as early as I can tomorrow. So make sure you tune into that. Go click the links in the description of this video. Go watch my last 2 videos that I did that have a total of 4 underdog plays, for this weekend's college football action. Don't miss out. We went 6-0 in underdogs last week on our free plays. 7-0 if you actually count the the one favorite that I did give out for free for NFL Sunday. Guys, it doesn't get any better than that. So make sure that you tune into those. Do not miss out on them. It's free information. It's free money. Go take advantage of one of the discounts. If you don't want to do that and you just want to get on a short-term package, $50 will get you 3 days of action, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, NASCAR is not included. Or you can do a 7-day pass of every premium and daily top play for $100. All of it can be found at chasewins.com, your number one source for the best sports investing advice, predictions, and money making in the business. Remember, guys, over here, we're not gamblers, we're not bettors, we're investors. It's all about profit, it's all about ROI, and it's all long term. I love you guys, and I will see you back for the next one.